Alright, I'm gonna have to do another accent then. Let's see. Foreign accents. Okay, not that, not that, not that one, definitely not that one. Huh. Well, I could do that, I think. Bonjour everyone, welcome back to the Waiver Wire show. The show where we take a baguette and we shove it. Oh, that was so horribly bad. Hello everyone, hope you're having a fantastic Monday so far. Welcome back to the Waiver Wire show. Your weekly information on one undrafted Pokemon and their potential usage in a draft league format. I'm your host Strompfel and I'm all set to jump right into this week's magical episode. Firstly, I just want to address a question that I get a lot, and that is if I do have my own YouTube channel. I do not, unfortunately. Doing the Waiver Wire is basically all I can manage at the time, but I do have my own Twitter if you want to go and follow me there. It's just @Strompfel. Now it's time to take a look at the poll from last week and see which starter you guys thought deserved the honor to be covered on this show. And luckily for me, the giant DNA muted grass turtle Torterra, which actually might be my favorite starter, came out on top. So that's what we are talking about today. Overall, Torterra has pretty disappointing stats compared to its totally badass design. I will leave a disclaimer right here that I might sound like a 12-year-old fangirl in this episode since I really love Torterra. It's like my version of Justin Bieber, who every 12-year-old fangirl on the planet loves. At least my fan crush doesn't just go and piss in a bucket. I know, my crushes are weird. Torterra has base 95 HP, which is solid, 109 attack, which is more than workable, and good defense as base 105. But the last sets aren't too hot. They're not bad, but they're not good either. 75 special attack is not good at all. Base 85 special defense is again workable, and as per usual we're dealing with a shitty speed stat as 56. So overall, Torterra is a balanced Pokemon, but it doesn't have that one stat that really peaks, something that you can heavily rely on. And of course it moves with a speed of approximately 3 miles a day. Torterra is the only grass and ground Pokemon in the entire game, which has its pros and its cons. Ground by itself is really good and can be spammed against an opponent that doesn't have a resist, but the grass typing doesn't really help out at all. Ground is resisted by grass, bug and flying, but so is grass, so grass doesn't really help out in the slightest. Defensively, we have the same issue. Ground is solid, but grass just adds so many weaknesses which hinders Torterra. It does however give Torterra an immunity against electric types, which is solid to stop opposing volt switches. Now, apart from Torterra obviously being the best starter, why would it in theory fit on a draft team? Well, let us look at some of the positive sides with Torterra. Now, the first thing that comes to mind, and maybe the most important thing with Torterra, is that it gets access to the move Stealth Rocks. Stealth Rocks are so clutch in a Pokemon battle, since they make your opponent think twice before they pull a lot of aggressive double switches. That extra damage upon switching also could make a 3-hit KO into a 2-hit KO, which is extremely important. While I wouldn't call Torterra the most reliable Pokemon to set up Stealth Rocks, it definitely isn't the worst either since it has decent bulk. With base 109 HP and solid defenses, Torterra should be able to take any hit with the right investments, and Torterra also gets access to the move Synthesis, which will heal 50% of your health back. This becomes really annoying really quickly if your opponent doesn't have an efficient way of dealing with Torterra. If you draft Torterra, it's sadly not going to be something you bring to every battle, but when you finally bring it, it will most likely be a surprise for your opponent. And if they underprepare for Torterra, this turtle will stay on the field for a long while. Speaking of underpreparing for this demon turtle, it could actually do some mad damage to your opponent's team. Now, base 109 is good, but not fantastic. But with some investments, this turtle will shake the earth and hit something very hard. In comparison, Infernape, one of the most threatening Pokemon in Draft League formats, has less base attack than Torterra. Now, I'm not sitting here saying that Torterra is anywhere near as good or versatile as Infernape, but you know, a man can only dream. We've already touched on what hinders Torterra, but let's just run over them again quickly. Now, one of the biggest problems with Torterra is that it gets completely checked both offensively and defensively by one typing. It has an evil 4x weakness to ice, which completely shuts it down. If the temperature drops below 0 degrees Celsius, it just dies. Everything that gets access to an ice type move has effectively dealt with Torterra. Offensively, Torterra cannot break flying types with its dual stab, since they are immune against ground types and resists grass. It does however get access to some rock moves such as Stone Edge to deal with said flying types, but with shaky accuracy and not being able to get the stab boost, it's not going to be too powerful. So this next con might seem a little bit weird. No wow factor. What the f does this Swedish AA run wannabe mean with this? Well, if you take a look at Pokemon's stats, usually one sticks out from the rest. The problem is that none of Torterra's stats really stick out. They're all in that kind of awkward middle stage between good and bad. Last but not least is the speed stat, a common con on the waiver wire this season. Torterra is a turtle, and we all know that turtles are pretty slow, so it's just fitting, I guess. It sucks, but nature has its own will. But you know, one of the more common children's book is the story about the turtle beating the bunny in a race, so I don't know, like maybe Mega Torterra in Diamond and Pearl Remix confirmed? I think I've stated I love Torterra about 40 times this episode, so it's gonna be my pleasure to try and make some viable sets for it on Pokemon Showdown, so that's what we'll do now. Set number 1 is your generic Stealth Rocks Torterra. This is a bulky approach to the grass turtle with Stealth Rocks since they're crucial, Earthquake and Seed Bomb for some offensive stab pressure, and then Synthesis for recovery. This is supposed to function as a physical check to set up Stealth Rocks, so the item is a leftovers to regain health every turn. Now the EVs are maximizing HP and defense to soak up all the physical moves incoming your way, and we also pack a little bit of attack investment to do some damage with Earthquake and Seed Bomb. Now you really need to be aware of special hits, since they will do a lot of damage and keep forcing you to use Synthesis, which only has 8 PP. Set number 2 is a setup sweeper, but not your standard set up whatever you like and outspeed and KO everything set. More of a I'll sit here and watch you slowly die set. This Torterra utilizes the move Curse really well. Curse will boost your attack and defense but lower your speed. The moves other than Curse are Rest, Sleep Talk, and then whatever coverage move you like. I put Earthquake because, you know, hell yeah Earthquake, but switch that out to whatever you like. So the idea behind this set is to set up as many curses as you can. Rest to regain health, and then use Sleep Talk to be able to move while you're sleeping. Usually people tend to deal with these kind of passive setup sweepers in two ways. Either you toxic it or you critical hit it. Neither will work on this set since you could easily rest off the toxic and your ability, Shell Armor, hinders you from being crit. Amazing, right? One thing you do need to watch out for is Taunt, since that will shut down this set immediately. The EVs are maximizing HP and special defense since you will boost your defense with Curse, so this allows you to take hits better from both sides. Lastly, we do have the Choice Specs Torterra. This set are for those who feel like winning is a little bit too easy and you need a bit of a challenge. This set mainly shows that Torterra has special options, but trust me, don't bring this unless absolutely necessary. The moves are Leaf Storm and Earth Power for stab, Hidden Power Rock for pesky flying types, and then just put Hyper Beam in the mix, because we've already crossed the line of sanity. The item is of course a choice spec. I'm guessing most of you figured that out at this point. The EVs are maximized in special attack and HP with a modest nature to hit as hard as possible and take hits. The set should be used as a lure, to bait in opposing mons and do an unexpected amount of damage to said Pokemon that your opponent did not expect. If I would have faced off against a Torterra, I would instantly think, oh, it's defensive with Stealth Rocks or it's offensive on the physical side. So I would try to capitalize on that to try and switch in something physically defensive. In that scenario, Specs Torterra could do a mad damage with a Leaf Storm. And last but not least is the Torterra build set, which is a dual dance bulky Torterra. This set is supposed to take hits while you're setting up for your sweep. The set is based around the combination of Sword Stance that doubles your attack and then Rock Polish that doubles your speed, which means that you can either set up and choose if you want to be fast or offensive, or you can say GG it's MV and set them both up. Either way, after you've boosted your stats, you can hit your opponent really hard with a combination of Earthquake and Stonage. I chose Stonage over a grass stab like Woodhammer, since getting walled by flying types would suck. So Stonage it is. Now this set has the Agua Berry, a berry I really didn't know existed. The Agua Berry will heal back 50% as soon as you're under 25% of your health, which is really good. This means that you can do your setup in two scenarios. Either your opponent attacks you and it basically does nothing, probably around 30% or something. This means that you can do a lot of setup until they hit you in range of Agua and bring it back over half HP. This is when you can start going for those offensive type moves and do really good damage. And with your Agua Berry bringing you all the way over half health, you will not be in range from priority attack, as Revenge Killers probably want to come in. The other scenario is that you face off against a really powerful Pokemon that will immediately hit you in Agua range. This means that you can take a hit and go for the Rock Polish to outrun them on the following turn. If you manage to kill the threat, you're looking so solid again, since you will not be in range from a priority attack thanks to your Agua Berry. And you will be able to get another heavy hit off on the turn following that. The EVs are there to outspeed an opposing max speed Greninja after a Rock Polish, and then has as much physical bulk as possible to take attacks and get your setup going. And that's going to do it for this edition of the Waiver Wire show. Now, I know we usually have a Strawpoll to decide which Pokemon is going to be featured in the next episode, but unfortunately I'm going to have to decide next week's featured Pokemon by myself. This is because I'm completely swamped in school stuff right now, and next week is literally hell, so I won't have that much time left over for making a video. I figured that was better that I choose the Pokemon and have more time making the episode rather than having the poll and then risking no video at all, since my time just went bye-bye. If you feel like this video was a bit rushed, this is the reason. It's literally 11:30 PM. I'm super tired, but I'm gonna get this episode out on time. But hopefully the week after next week we'll have more time. But you know, there's something positive with me choosing the Pokemon. Now I can make more build sets. But anyways, thank you so much for tuning in. I've been your host Strompfel. I will go to bed and I'll see all of you at the next week. Goodbye.